the main event was Asuka and Rhea Ripley, and then a lot of side stories going into that match. Kairi Sane, Iyo Sky. How about Iyo Sky really getting aggravated at Rhea Ripley when Rhea Ripley said to Iyo, "Hey, be careful with Asuka." And we're like, "Whoa, that's my friend you're talking about. Her and I have a relationship that you know nothing about. Stay in your lane. Like, I could trust Asuka. She's my dear friend." And that came back to bite her in the ass last night. And you talk about a mist. We've seen some bad mistings. That was a mist from Asuka, man. Like that, we saw, remember a couple years ago with Saraya, like a little mist got in her eyes and she's just like took a tissue and wiped it out. I'm fine. Rhea Ripley was covered in kabuki green mist, covered her entire body.
As Gary Hart would say, shades of the great kabuki.
Like that, it burned her eyes and her skin. And she still looks hot with all that green mist on her. Gotta tell you. But man, she was just covered with that green mist. But man, I thought one hell of a first of all, great match.
They took her to a medical facility afterwards for ocular contusion.
But I think now, tell me if I'm wrong.
You're wrong.
Aren't they okay? They can't say, they still can't say hospital? I think they could go with the hospital.
No, I've heard them say hospital.
Yeah, they could do it. Vince McMahon, the medical facility, the doc in the box at the end of the block. You know what I'm saying? No, they can actually say hospital.
I would say triage in the ER and make it seem real bad. She has an ocular contusion of the medieval corneocerebral hemorrhage.
Did you hear what Rhea said when she got hit with the mist?
Captain Luau Battle Manager Champion the medulla oblongata. What'd she say when she got hit with the mist?
She went, ah!
How did she go?
Ah!
They're all gonna laugh at you. She got misted good.
Ah!
That's a misting. You're right. If you're gonna miss the mother trucker, that's how you missed them.
That's how you do it. If
you're gonna spit, that's how you spit.
Dude, it was amazing. It was amazing. It was, I'm going to say this, the best green mist in WWE history.
You know what? That misting was so good that you should come up with a laminated list of the top 10 mistings in history.
There you go. Sounds
a new list.
Show with Tommy. Show with Tommy. Top 10 mistings.
Get the laminator ready.
There we go. Then I love the story because it is all about the story. Out comes Iyo Sky. And now I'm ready. I'm like, all right, now Io's going to help. But you look at Io's face. She was ready to throw down. Like, she's like, Asuka and Kairi are my friends. And I don't care that you're on the mat full of green mist. I'm going to kick your ass. Like, Iyo was ready to be and fight by Kairi and Asuka's side until things went awry for Iyo Sky, and she got laid out by Asuka.
And that makes Asuka that much bigger of a heel and a scumbag. There were layers to the turn last night. The misting being the first layer, one of the layers. The turn on Iyo, but the part of this story that I loved the most was forcing Kairi to do all the things that she did.
Yep.
Basically holding her hostage, making her beat down Iyo.
If you first watch Iyo, and at first I'm like, my God, Iyo, my guy Kairi, could you make those punches a little bit more believable? But what she was doing, and I don't know if this was on purpose but like Asuka gave her a look like, what the fuck is that? Like, and she kind of grabbed her from behind, like almost like a hug, but almost like forcibly saying, no, harder. Like, I see what you're trying to do.
Because Kairi is, and I don't know if this came across entirely too subtle. It did look like Kairi was trying to hold back. Okay, I'll do what you say, Asuka. I'll beat her down, but I'm not going to hit her as hard as I can because I feel bad for her. And then Asuka yoked her up and said, nah, lay your shit in, sister. And that's when Kairi had to really do it.
And it was one of those where she goes from behind, puts her arm around, almost like an embrace, but you could tell like it was tight, and like hit her. And then she picks her up and she does off the top turnbuckle. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. Great job by Asuka, great job by Rhea, great job by Iyo, and great job by Kairi Sane. And you know what? That's the type of story that's great storytelling, because as you said, Bully, there's layers to the story, and there are a lot of layers.
And I was happy that went on last, because that was a bigger moment than the Uso LA Knight match.
Because that's the thing that made me think, Bully, because it's like, you got Jey Uso in LA Knight. That's a main event for Monday Night Raw. And then Joe Tessitore says, oh, now it's official. Our main event is Asuka and Rhea Ripley, which is definitely a main event. I was like, wow, unannounced, they're moving off Jey Uso and LA Knight to put on that match as the main event. But as you said, it would not have had the same impact if that happened in the middle of the show. The perfect way to end a Monday Night Raw last night.
I am very happy that they are back on track with Asuka. Asuka, to me, in the WWE, since her loss to Charlotte at WrestleMania, when she first came in all the way up to WrestleMania, I thought they were getting it right with her. Since that loss to Charlotte, I never felt like they tapped into her potential. I felt it was very much wasted potential. Asuka was corny at times, the dancing, whatever Vince had her doing, and I never felt like they got back on track with her. There is too much talent in Asuka to let it go to waste. Last night, I was like, yes, I liked the backstage, the way she was talking. She feels more comfortable in her speaking as a heel. The execution last night. Asuka, we always, obviously with the Mist, we think of all the great heels of the past, the Kendo Nagasakis, the great Mutas of the world, and what they were able to do. So that's why we got the comparison with Asuka. But Asuka can be a very effective heel. An ass-kicking heel and a bully heel. Because Asuka's being a complete bully to Kairi, and I love it. And one day, Kairi's going to eventually have her comeuppance against Asuka. But Asuka can also beat your ass, and she can blind you. Lots of great layers to that new heel we're seeing in Asuka. I dug it.
And then I loved how Rhea Ripley was down on the mat and she was in pain. And then she didn't get to her feet, but she was starting to get up, just to get to her knees. Asuka saw that spinning kick to the head. It wasn't like she got to it. It was just all right, she's showing signs of life, so let me knock her back down again.
Because Asuka knew in that moment in time, I'm not letting Rhea walk away like John Cena did.